Today's video is on a band I completely forgot about. Not forgot about, but I was sorting my records out and I came across their albums and I've just been listening to all day and thought, right, I'm going to do a video on this. The band I'm talking about is Japan. I have spoke about a couple of their albums. I think there's been in my top 20 or things like that. But for those who don't know, Japan were formed in 1974 in Catford in South London, for those that don't know. I didn't know it to do this research. Now, the album I'm talking about is Quiet Life, this album here, which was the third studio album by Japan, and it was first released on the 7th of December 1979 in Canada, Japan, and the Netherlands only. Got to get that right. And then it was released on the 18th of January in the UK. Quiet Life was the band's first album to chart and was later certified gold for sales of in excess of 100,000 records. They did a standalone single, Life in Tokyo, which is a massive track just before this, with Giorgio Moroder. I mean, the guy's a god, anything he touches. But they didn't choose to work with Giorgio Moroder on this album. The band wanted John Punter, who was the producer for Roxy Music, but he wasn't available at the time for this, so they kind of waited for him. And in the meantime, they worked with Simon Napier-Bell, who was the manager for Japan. They kind of worked on the kind of pre-stuff. And then when John Punter was available, they got him in the studio and he produced this album. Considering you listen to the tracks on this, I mean, he's an amazing producer. Producing Roxy Music, which are one of the best bands in the world. But a lot of these tracks are quite different in style, but he's managed to kind of merge and create a coherent album with this. So I'm quite impressed with this, especially if you listen to the stuff Japan did before. It's almost like there's no kind of crossover style. They've just gone for this style here, and it's nice and coherent. The first album to kind of have a lot of this stuff, other than the standalone single for Life in Tokyo. And the tracks are just the way they're kind of sequenced. It's something I spoke about in a previous video, where I was saying the sequence of tracks is so important. When we finished that last album, I was probably there for about 2 weeks trying to get the sequence right, and here they got it right. The people that are involved with this album, they're just complete gods. And we had David Sylvian on lead vocals, guitar and production, Rob Dean on guitar, you had Richard Barberi on synthesizers, you have Mick Kahn, who's an absolute god. If you've not heard his solo album, I think he's only done one solo album, his first solo album, incredible. He's just a genius. Also, quite recently, a couple of years ago, they did release the box set of this, which I am going to be getting, and I will do another video on that. I think you get a CD, you get like a live stuff, you get more photos from the shoot for this album. But I will be getting doing another video on the box set. If you haven't heard, you need to check this out. If you're a fan of Japan, guaranteed you're going to love this album.